Hi, it's Ian here from CAD Space in Sydney. Just a quick video to show you a little bit about importing DXF or DWG files into Solidworks using first of all, using the file open command. We can directly access these file types. Double clicking on the particular file brings up the following choices. We can either bring in the geometry to a new drawing, 2D drawing, or into a new part, so we can use the geometry to create new features. First of all, if we look at bringing the geometry into a drawing, clicking the next button, we can choose the layers to bring in. So if your geometry has multiple layers and you only want certain aspects, then we can choose at this point which to bring in, and then clicking next, we can choose the position of the geometry on the drawing sheet. The red area is the drawing boundary, and I've just selected center in sheet. We can also choose at this point the paper size, so picking A4 or A3, and also we can scale the drawing if we wish, but I'm choosing the 1:1 scale here. So then clicking finish, the geometry is brought in onto the 2D drawing, and if we look carefully, we can actually, although it's dimensioned, the geometry isn't constrained here. So the first thing that you might like to do when you bring the geometry in is select all the geometry and then simply fix it in place, so that now it's locked. The other option, bringing in 2D geometry, as we saw from the dialog box, is to import the geometry into a new part as a 2D sketch. Very similar dialog box. I can choose the layers to bring in. At this point I can also, because I'm going into a part, choose whether to add constraints or use dimensions. So if I tick both of these dialogs options, then clicking next, again I can choose the sketch origin, or I can just select finish. And now what we have is a sketch with the geometry already positioned. The geometry is this time constrained by the dimensions, so if I pick up a corner I can drag the geometry around. I can constrain the geometry to the origin point, and I can modify the geometry from the dimensions. So by picking, so it behaves exactly as it would have done if it was modelled directly within the original part drawing. Obviously at this point I can make an extrusion, so the geometry can be directly used to create features. And the next step would be, as an example, to bring more DXF information in onto specific planes or faces. This time, having selected a face on the geometry, I can use from the top menu bar, I can choose the Insert and Insert DXF DWG option. This brings up the browser window and allows me to pick a different file. Similar dialog box, but this time we will be inserting it directly into the selected face. I'll bring in the dimensions, and I don't really mind where the sketch is positioned, so I'll click finish. So here we have the sketch from the 2D geometry positioned on the selected plane. I can simply reposition that, and if I want to, then dimension it as you would have done normally had you drawn it directly in SolidWorks part to start with. Obviously now the feature can be extruded, and it behaves exactly as you would expect. So that's a brief introduction to bringing in 2D geometry directly into SolidWorks. Thank you very much.